Have you ever poured your heart and soul into something only to hear silence? No applause, no recognition, just the deafening quiet of what feels like an empty room. This was Ethan's world. For 2 years, he'd been building an app. It wasn't just code to him. It was his masterpiece, a solution to a problem he deeply cared about. He launched it with a heart full of hope, expecting a wave of users, a flood of positive feedback. Instead, he got a trickle, a handful of downloads, and then nothing. Every morning, he'd wake up, his first move to check the app's analytics. The numbers were brutal. They were a flat line, a constant, painful reminder of his perceived failure. His savings were dwindling, and the voices of doubt were getting louder. Friends and family, well-meaning but misguided, would ask, "So, how's that app thing going? Maybe it's time to get a real job." Each question felt like a small paper cut on his already fragile confidence. He started to believe them. Maybe this was all a huge, embarrassing mistake. He was just a guy with a dream, and the world wasn't interested. He spent his days scrolling through social media, a self-inflicted torture. He saw old classmates celebrating promotions, buying houses, getting married. Everyone seemed to be moving forward, collecting trophies of success, while he was stuck in his digital basement, tinkering with a project nobody cared about. The comparison was crushing. The vibrant, ambitious young man who started this journey was gone, replaced by a shadow of his former self, haunted by the ghost of what might have been. The delete project button loomed large in his mind, a tempting escape from the constant disappointment. One bleak Tuesday afternoon, just as he was about to give up for good, a notification pinged. It wasn't an analytics update, it was an email. The subject line was simple: "Thank you." Ethan's heart skipped a beat. He clicked it open, his hands slightly trembling. The email was from a woman named Sarah. She wrote about her struggles with managing a chronic illness, the daily chaos of appointments, medications, and symptoms. It was a life of constant, overwhelming details. She explained how she'd stumbled upon Ethan's app and how it had, in her words, changed everything. She described how the app's simple interface helped her organize her medical life in a way she never could before. It gave her a sense of control she hadn't felt in years. She wasn't just a user. She was someone whose daily burden had been lightened. The email wasn't long, but every word was packed with genuine, heartfelt gratitude. She ended it with, "Your app gave me a piece of my life back. Please don't ever stop what you're doing. It matters." Ethan read the email once, then twice, then third time. Tears welled up in his eyes. But these weren't tears of failure. They were tears of relief, of connection, of profound, unexpected validation. He wasn't a failure. He was a lifeline to someone he'd never even met. That single email from Sarah was more powerful than 1,000,000 downloads, more valuable than any venture capital investment. It was a spark in the darkness, reigniting a fire he thought had been extinguished forever. The delete project button was no longer a temptation. It was an impossibility. Suddenly, the numbers on his analytics dashboard seemed meaningless. The likes on social media felt hollow. He had been chasing the wrong definition of success. He had been so focused on the roar of the crowd that he couldn't hear the one quiet voice that truly mattered. Success wasn't about fame or fortune. It was about impact. It was about making one person's life, just one person's, a little bit better. Sarah's email was his proof. It was his North Star. With newfound purpose, Ethan went back to work. But this time, it was different. He wasn't coding for a faceless, anonymous mass of users. He was coding for Sarah. He imagined her using the new feature he was building, how it would make her day easier. Every line of code was infused with a new sense of mission. He started a small blog, not to promote the app, but to share his journey and connect with others who might be facing similar struggles, whether with health or with their own silent projects. Slowly, something magical began to happen. Sarah shared the app in her online support group. Another user found it and wrote a small blog post about it. A doctor recommended it to a patient. The growth wasn't explosive. It was organic, quiet, and deeply meaningful. It was a community being built, one person at a time, around a shared need and a genuine solution. Ethan started receiving more emails like Sarah's, a father managing his son's care, a caregiver for an elderly parent, each with their own story, each with their own thank you. Ethan realized that the most important work often happens in the quiet. It's not always loud, it's not always celebrated on a grand scale, but it's real. The silent phases, the periods of doubt, they aren't signs of failure. They are part of the process. They are the moments when you have to hold on to your why. His why was no longer to be a successful tech entrepreneur in the traditional sense. His why was Sarah and everyone else like her. Looking back, Ethan understood that the 2 years of silence weren't a waste. They were the foundation. They were the time he spent honing his craft, perfecting his tool, so that when the first person who needed it found it, it was ready. He learned that you might feel like you're shouting into the void, but you never know who is listening. You never know whose life you might be changing with your quiet, persistent effort. So, if you're out there right now, working on your own project, pouring your heart into something in the quiet, and you feel like no one sees you, I want you to remember Ethan's story. your work matters. Your passion is not a mistake. You might only have one user, one reader, one listener. But that one person could be your Sarah. They are the reason you started, and they are the reason to keep going. Don't chase the noise. Chase the impact. Keep building, keep creating, keep persevering. Because someone, somewhere, is waiting for what only you can offer. And their thank you will be the loudest, most beautiful sound you'll ever hear. Thank you so much for watching. If this story resonated with you, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel for more content like this. We all have a story, and every one of them deserves to be heard. See you in the next one.